Oxley at 0, Woking 3. How do you feel after that, Danny?
Absolutely gutted, because we talk so much about momentum, we talk so much about what we're going to do in games, how we're going to approach them, tactics, markers from set pieces, retain possession of the ball, when to go in behind, when to spin it. And when you look at the goals they scored today, first half was probably a bit of a nothing, to be fair. We had some good actions from set pieces, but there was nothing really in the game. And we switch off and we don't defend a set piece properly. We don't pick up the marker. He's probably the only real target they've got from a set piece, and he gets a free header and heads it from nearly 18 yards into the goal. And when you defend like that, you're going to get punished. The actual free kick comes from us. It's our throw-in. We throw it. We don't look after it. We give a stupid foul away because we've made a mistake. The foul leads to the goal. And when you're making actions like that, you're going to cause yourself all sorts of problems. I mean, and the second goal just kills us. Momentum just kills us. But look, at the end of the day, I put the players on the pitch. It's my responsibility. I have to take the responsibility for that. That's just as simple as it is.
Was there any? You made 5 changes today. Was there anything else you could do during the game to affect the outcome?
No, I think we tried to start as much as possible with a team that finished the game on Tuesday with such intensity. Like, we were good second half on Tuesday, and we thought there's some momentum there. We got the 2 goals back, and all right, we conceded a silly goal, but the actual momentum in the game was with us. So that was the reasoning behind today. And obviously, hindsight's a great thing, but clearly overall it didn't end up working because we end up getting beat. It's the first game of the season we haven't scored a goal in, and we've conceded another 3. And I think at times we just look soft.
Do you think there's a mental fragility as well as a physical softness?
No, that's what I mean by I think it is a mental fragility. Like, I've never seen, like, I'm screaming from the touchline, body language. Let's look like we still want to get something out of the game. Got people looking at the grass, and that's not the environment we want here. We don't want that. We want fighters. We want people that, regardless of what happens, things go wrong in games, always. We make mistakes as staff, players make mistakes on the pitch, that stuff happens. But fight that's a controllable. You have to control the controllables, and we are in control of that, and we have to fight. But as I said, look, at the end of the day, the buck always stops with me, and that's my responsibility.
There were spells in the game where they showed fight and they showed spirit, and it looked as though they were lifting the crowd, and the crowd were responding. But it just sort of fizzled out, and that's good game management by Woking, I suppose. But they couldn't maintain that momentum, could they?
I think, as I said, the second goal kills us. I think we had that momentum. We were on the front foot, and we're thinking, right, okay, like it'll be a matter of time before we get a good chance. We'll get a chance to go, because we've had chances in the game, and fair play to their defenders and their goalkeeper. They kept us out. But yeah, I think from our perspective, momentum is key, and that sort of the intensity is the thing that's disappointed me the most. It was when we did what we did last season, and we stayed up against all the odds. Everyone keeps telling me, against all the odds, we stayed up. Everything we did was with an intensity. And so far, barring probably a 25-30 minute spell on Tuesday, I've not seen that. And is that down to loads of new players coming into the building? I think that's a pretty poor excuse, really. I think settling in and learning patterns of play and philosophy is one thing. But intensity, that's something that we train like that. We train with an intensity every day. And I think when you're trying to take that onto a pitch, it should be easy, because that's what we're used to. And for whatever reason at the minute, for whatever reason it is, and we have to obviously get to the bottom of it quick, it's just not working with the intensity. It just needs to be better.
You talked about things have to happen quickly. I mean, time is never kind in football. It always seems to slip through the fingers, you know. It's coming up towards the end of August. You've had 4 games under your belt. You must be looking at players now and thinking, are they going to be able to respond for me? It may be early in that process, but you must be starting to put question marks over certain players, whether they can give you what you need.
100%. 100%. We can't perform the way we've performed in 3.5 games and then expect there to not be changes. There has to be changes, because whether that's tactics, whether that's style of play, whether it's personnel, whatever it might be, we've put ourselves in a really precarious position. And I'd actually say we've put ourselves in that position. You watch the goals that we've conceded, no one's scored a worldie goal against us. Everything's come from individual error or or lack of intensity or lack of want to go and actually win a 50-50. And I think that's their characteristics as opposed to technical and tactical things. And when you look back through all the goals we've conceded, I've not looked at one and thought, oh, what a good goal. I mean, the lad takes the goal well for the third goal, takes it well, but how he got there is a mistake. It's an error from us. And yeah, we have to. There's not one person in the dressing room who can look at me in the eye and go, I think I did all right today. I think I should be in the team for Monday, and that's a concern.
You've always said, players have to that have got the shirt. They've got to go out there and prove that they want to keep the shirt. You're not seeing that, are you?
No, it's like no one wants to keep it at the minute. And look, as I'm going to reiterate what I've said several times already. At the end of the day, the buck stops with me. There's no excuses from us. We are putting in performances because we are putting in those performances. Can't blame referees and decisions and stuff. There was no major decisions in the game today that went against us. Maybe a penalty, but to be fair, the trajectory of the ball, keeper probably does touch it first. It would have been cheap. So we can't blame officials and whatnot. The buck basically stops with us, and we have to take responsibility for that. And the bottom line is, with football and with managers and all that kind of stuff, time is short, and you have to make impressions and you have to make changes, and that's what we have to do.
If the players are not responding to what you want them to do you have any leeway to bring in loan signings or anything to bolster your squad?
Yeah, Damien's always proactive in making sure that we know we've got the resources we need if need be to go and make changes if we need to. And I think from my perspective, listen, I'd say I'm probably the most settled I've been from a club perspective in a long time. I love it here, and I want to be successful here, but I need people that also want the same, and we need to sing off the same hymn sheet. And we've spoke to several people about what it looks like from a mentor perspective. I want to have success here, but the players have to want that success too, as much as I want it, if not more, because if they don't, then we're always going to struggle. Last season, they wanted to stay up. They were desperate to stay up. I came in, I wanted to keep the club up, and we had a common goal. And I'm not. Listen, it is 4 games, but I'm looking at them and thinking, I'm not sure you want the goal as much as I want the goal. Because there's people on the pitch today who didn't have a glove laid on them, and if I was out there today, even at 46, they're not just walking through me, and I think we have to address that, and we have to address that quickly.
At the end of last season, as you say, you pulled off the great escape. Part of that was due to 3 young loan signings that were here, and they made a major contribution to that. From the terraces, and I can hear people saying they're the sort of players we need back again. Not those same players, but that type of young player. Is that a possibility?
Look, we definitely have to look at it, Chaz. We have to look at it, because the bottom line is there's only so much time you can give people in it, and this isn't just football. This is any industry. Someone's not doing their job, then
how long do you give them? And I think that when it's starting to affect you, kind of the crowd, we deserve to get booed today. We can't be unhappy that the fans booed us today. We deserved it. Like you, for me, you always get back from the fans what you give. You always. And then if you give them enough over a period of time, you get some credit. So when things are a bit rough, they'll give you some support. At the minute, we've given them nothing. 30 minutes at Yeovil on Tuesday, and they were brilliant, the fans, on Tuesday. They deserve so much better on Tuesday. And then the fans have turned up today again in their numbers, and we've given them nothing. We've given them absolutely nothing. So what do they expect? We talk about relationships all the time. Relationships are, I give 100%, you give 100%. Well, if the fans are giving 100%, but we're only giving them 70%, that's going to end at some point in that relationship, isn't it? And I think from our perspective, you can probably hear in my voice, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed because I expect all my teams I've ever managed, one thing we've always been is fighters. We've always had a fight. We might not have been as good as someone else, we might have had bad days, but we always fight. And today, at times, I'm looking at that and thinking, where is it? I'm the most vocal person out of everyone and I'm standing here. I can't affect it. Where's my fighters? I need my fighters, and that's what we're going to put out on against Braintree on Monday. We'll put fighters out, and if, regardless of what the result is, I'm going to make sure that whoever's on the pitch fights for the club. Fights for the club, because I think you can agree with me. We're not seeing that in a minute. you talk about the Braintree game, probably a result like this from an opposition perspective, it gives them a little bit of a lift to think, oh, they're going to come into the Braintree thinking you're going to go into that game after a 3-0 defeat, you're going to be a little bit bruised. But you've got to turn that round into a positive, haven't you? That bruising is hurting to the point that you're going to kick on.
Yeah, well, look, the one good thing about when you have games like this is we're back on the horse as quick as we possibly can, or the bike, whatever metaphor you want to use. We're back on it, and we need to see a reaction. We'll be in tomorrow, and we'll have to go through. And it's like watching horror films at the minute, going through our analysis when you're talking about it. But they've got to learn. Like I've always said to the players from day one, I forgive mistakes. Mistakes are easy to forgive if the reaction is appropriate. If the reactions are appropriate, actually sometimes the reaction can far outweigh the action. But we're not seeing that in a minute. We're seeing poor actions and no reaction. And from our perspective, we have to work on the premise. We either change the people or we change the people.
You haven't got a lot of time to do it.
No, not at all.
Well, good luck on Monday, and come home with 3 points.
Thanks, Chaz. Thank you.
Cheers.